Fit check. Deck check. Alright, it's going to be a good video. We are playing Spy combo with a slightly different approach from the other deck list. Already, it is there is a discussion between the two variants of Spy combo, the two variants played nowadays. So, Wolves combo, I mean Wolves Spy combo and Elves Spy combo, because the first one plays Overgrown Battlement and Wall of Roots as a way to, cheat mana, and the second one plays Prest of Titania, just Prest of Titania, and a bunch of elves, and Timberwatch Elf as an alternative gameplay. So when I tried the Elves decklist, the Elves Spy decklist, I said to myself, why aren't we playing more copies of Overgrown Battlement? I mean, the deck used to play X-Men Guardian, but right now most deck lists don't play anymore X-Men Guardian because the card is kind of overcosted. They don't really need the secondary color so much. So basically the deck is mono green splashing black for Street Spy. So Overgrown Battlement is much better than X-Men Guardian because it has bigger toughness, and of course because it costs one less mana. Else is similar to Wolf Spy in that aspect because it plays Priest of Titania, and Priest of Titania is strong, maybe stronger than Overgrown Battlement when just it comes to generating mana, because it counts as well the elf on the opponent battlefield. But to be honest, if you take a look at the Wolf Spy deck list, there are a lot of elves, a lot of creatures with the subtype elf. So for that reason, why aren't we playing both Priest of Titania and Overgrown Battlement? So when I tried at first this idea, I got far trophy on the Magical Line Leagues the first round. Okay, then I wasn't playing Yumitino Tavern. I was still playing Nyxborn Hydra because Nyxborn Hydra is being played in Elves Spy combo. And the card isn't really great unless you have Priest of Titania. So if you have both Overgrown Battlement and Priest of Titania, why not playing Nyxborn Hydra? I tried it and I did not like it. But what I liked more than Nyxborn Hydra was extra card advantage. And so for that reason, I choose to play Yumitino Tavern. Alright, so now we are playing not just 8 draw spells, but 10 draw spells, and that is good. So that reason, I think this main deck is very, very good. I mean, I'm recording on Monday this video. Even thought I will publishing it later in Sunday for this week, because I don't have much time in the weekend. I'm going to play a PAUPER team trio, and one of my teammates will be playing this deck list. So I'm showing you this deck list because I think it is ready for a competitive tournament. And I think we are kind of in a good spot. I mean, the main deck, from my point of view, is great. I'm still not sure about the sideboard, but first probably should just take a look a bit more on a couple of things, because there are some changes from decklist 1 to decklist 2, etc., etc. So the amount of lengths usually is 4 to 5. 5 lanes, usually you play 5 lanes when you aren't quite confident on the keep rate, and on how much lanes you do need to play a decent game 1 against most decks. From my experience, 5 is the correct amount. Well, after choosing between playing 4 lands or 5 lands, you also need to understand whether if you want to play 4 forests or 3 copies of the basic forest land and 2 swamps. Playing 2 swamps, it is kind of clunky sometimes because you do not really want to keep your starting end with swamp because you have cards like the Creeper Vine or the other mana creatures that, of course, they cost green mana. But it is kind of reasonable when it comes to the cards that let you choose, that let you fetch forest, so land grant and Genocent. Of course, it's very bad with Sacred Wildling. The reason to play 2 swamps is mostly Dread Return, or rather being able to cast multiple black spells during a single turn without relying on creatures. So the creatures in this deck that gives you black mana are severely critical, and Elves of Deep Shadow. Elves of Deep Shadow is bad because yeah, it gives you black mana, but it also deals you 1 damage. So for that reason, probably is not the strongest mono dog in this deck. It's still good because it gives you black mana from Overgrown source. So for that reason, it improves your combo turns thanks to the additional black mana. It is an elf, so if you just consider the amount of elves in this deck and the amount of creatures with the Thunder, we are approximately 10 of each. So that's the reason why I think it is fine to play both Overgrown Battlement and Priest of Titania. You don't really need crazy amount of mana when it comes to those creatures, the mana ramp, I mean. It is kind of anti-synergistic or antithetic to play both the Priest of Titania package and the Overgrown Battlement package, or at least it is the first thing that most people think. In my opinion, it is not an issue. I mean, Priest of Titania, the reason to not play Priest of Titania it is mostly its toughness because it dies to Ladat, but Madness, I mean, Mono Red Madness is so bad as matchup that playing a card that it is bad against a card played by Madness doesn't really means much for my opinion because you're already going to die from that deck since if the opponent have a turn 3 Gutter's Knife, you're very likely going to lose. So either playing Priest of Titania or not playing it, it is fine against Madness because the matchup is so unfavorable that even if you try to fix it by playing a different deck list or by playing specific card 8 post sideboard, you're very likely still going to lose. The matchup is so unfavorable that I think there's not much improvement to the deck list you can do to improve the matchup. Sometimes you're going to win, but it is not the most probable outcome from my experience. All right, so for the reason for playing 4 copies of Battlement and 4 copies of Priest of Titania, we are playing 4 copies of Cruel Ranger. Cruel Ranger is not so great in this deck, to be honest, because you don't really relying on generating much mana, and that's the reason why I think it is cool to play both elves and defenders creatures. But in this specific deck list, since I play 8 copies of the 2 mana darks, I think it is fine to play 4 copies of Cruel Ranger. Cruel Ranger can be interesting as well when it comes to playing 2 creatures of a mass removal spell if you have Elves Spy. So if the opponent kill almost all your creatures and leave you just one creature. Your next turn, maybe you don't have 5 mana, but just 4. But Queen Ranger costs 0 mana basically because you return the forest, you tap for the Queen Ranger to your hand, so it gives you an extra mana to combo off out of Thin Air. So the deck, well, we talked about a bunch of stuff, but I haven't talked about how the deck works. Is probably I should take a moment, or rather, I should take a moment at the start of the video. But when it comes to recording these videos, I really think that you are already aware of the deck's does, or rather of the generally how the deck win. So the deck, of course, relying on Elves Spy. You don't play so many lands. You play Dread Return as a way to return a creature from your graveyard. Because when you play Elves Spy, you target yourself, milling, or your deck. And then, since you have a bunch of creatures in your graveyard, you flashback Dread Return on Lethal Giant. And Lethal Giant deals enough damage to your opponent to kill him, or to kill her, or them. Alright, to do that, to fetch the lands, we have a bunch of creatures, of course, Generous Answer, Wildling, Land Grant, and Gatekeeper Vine. And finally, the last part of the deck is Masked Vandal. Masked Vandal is what an elf and a way to interact with artifact lands or the Nihil Spellbomb. Nihil Spellbomb is a graveyard 8 played in every artifact-based deck. Having Masked Vandal in the main deck helps you having an answer to Nihil Spellbomb. You can really do match well with cards like Pulse of Muraza or Crypt Incursion without Mesmeric Field in the main deck. I think those matchups are so unfavorable, meaning Giant Wildfire, Gardens, and Grixis Affinity, that trying to pack all the 8 in the main deck against those decks, it doesn't really improve the matchup so much, because most times you are winning the first game only if the opponent doesn't have the 8 in their end, because if you don't know what your opponent is playing, it's very likely for decks like Jand to keep even even ends. So the starting hand without any relevant spell, but a bunch of cards that let you draw to build your strategy. Alright, so in my opinion, the deck is good, but key issues. So meaning Cartland Shaman and cards like Fairy Macabre. You can play around Fairy Macabre because you can play Mesmeric Fiend. You are kind of weak in the main deck, so in the first game against decks like Fairies, so you play Vitugia's Inspector. You are weak as well against mono-red decks like mono-red Rally. Vitugia's Inspector is good against those decks. And you have a huge issue against specific cards like Cripple Incursion and Pulsumaraza and Karakan Shaman as well. So for that reason, I'm playing 4 copies. Well, Mesmeric Fiend, okay, I'm playing 4 copies because it's good against a larger variety of decks. But then I tried different stuff to try to interact against Master Novals and cards like Pulsumaraza. I tried Pilfer at first, but I didn't like it much because Pilfer is a sorcery. In my opinion, having a creature on the same effect is slightly better. So for that reason, I'm trying True Surgeon. I think True Surgeon is very bad. 4 mana to discard 1 card. Yeah, it is probably even probably unplayable even in limited. But in this deck, since we are playing Overgrown Battlement and Priest of Titania to generate a bunch of mana, probably the card is kind of good. I'm not suggesting you to play Troll Surgeon because the card is very bad. And probably regarding this sideboard, you can, I think, cut these 4 cards, so Troll Surgeon and Mesmeric Film, to play other 8. Whatever you want to play, cut those cards because those are not necessary in the sideboard of this deck. And I'm playing them because I haven't found yet what I want or what the deck needs. Yeah, we have Masked Vandal as a 4th copy, as an Artifact 8, and maybe we can even add more Artifact 8, because when you can't find Masked Vandal, or when you can't find Generous Hand to enable Masked Vandal, the card is mediocre as a way to destroy your opponent R8, your opponent artifact. So maybe we are still lacking something in the sideboard of this deck, but in my opinion, this deck is very good. So I hope you will enjoy this video gameplay. I talked a lot in this video about the deck tech, and I know I'm very boring when I start talking because I take a long time to basically express basic notions when it comes to this deck, and also I jump to an argument to the other. I try to be more natural as possible when it comes to trying to explain this deck. So there is the time stop in the description of the video for that specific reason. So you can skip and not watch the whole deck tech if you don't need it. So enjoy. All right, first match, we are starting on the play, and we have kind of a mediocre hand, but at least we have 2 lands, 2 ways to fetch a land, eventually a turn to Masked Vandal with Generous Hand. We can try to cap it because we have a turn 2 play and a turn 3 play, and we have as well Elves Spy, which is the card we need to combo off. It may be a good end or a bad end, mostly related on what opponent is playing. Volatile Fjord, right? So it is either Izzet Terror or it might be just Sky Ephemerate as well. Alright, we have an Overgrown Battlement. This is probably the best draw. So we have a creature that my opponent can't really kill without Scred, and they don't have enough Snowcurl lands yet to kill my Battlement. Sorcery Speed Brainstorm. It really maybe is a tell. Let's see if they have a yes. Yeah, there's a ponder, so it is for sure 100% certain is a Terra. And we have a turn 3 Burst of Titania eventually. Alright, let me think. We can go Seguidling, fetching Swamp. Then we have Masked Vandal and Burst of Titania. Or not, because we have just 4 mana. So we are going to choose between casting Vandal and Priest or Lead Stampede. I think against this kind of deck, casting Lead Stampede here is clearly better than going for Priest of Titania and Masked Vandal. These are a very mediocre Lead Stampede. So you can see I casted first Lead Stampede over the Sagu, because if I'm going to shuffle, put on the bottom some Lead Stampede, Winning Wave or whatever, I like the idea of reshuffling them in my deck. Probably doesn't do much, but the main reason is because if I found a 1-mana dog, I can play it. Alright, so I don't want to pick this Lottery Giant. I prefer to have the Lottery Giant in my deck since it costs too much mana, but I come to take the most Masked Vandals because I don't like the idea of having too many dead droves, and Masked Vandal is very bad again in the first game against Izzet because they don't have any Relic of Progenitus in the main deck. They may have those cards post sideboard, even though they play to learn Terra, but game 1 they don't have. They don't have any relic of progenitor, so we can play easily around those cards. Now we are going to stick on the battlefield of First of Titania, and eventually one Masked Vandal. They have a lower village, choose Nuclear Island, play another country. So they're just digging their deck, trying to find answers or, threats to kill me. But if I draw a 1-mana creature, I can try to combo off with my Elves Spy. Another Lady Stampede. Okay. Maybe I should go for Lady Stampede here. Alright, way better. I think I'll take all those creatures. So we play the Cerulean Caretaker, which basically costs 0 mana thanks to the Overgrown Battlement. We go for Priest of Titania. So we are not even discarding anything. That's fine. And I'm expecting the opponent to kill either the Overgrown Battlement or the Priest of Titania. They pass the turn. Alright, and we have a Gatekeeper Vine. That's great draw. We play first the Gatekeeper Vine, fetch the last land, and then we need to think about this turn. Overgrown Battlement at 3 mana, 1 mana from the Cerulean Caretaker, so 4 mana, 5 mana, 8 mana. We can try to combo off here, because we have enough mana to cast double Battlement Spy. It depends on how much I want to play around specific cards. I probably should play first my Battlement, my Battlement Spy. So if they counter it, I can then choose between casting another spy or casting those Masked Vandals. They have Battlement Spy. They have a counterspell on Battlement Spy. Okay, so maybe they don't have Spell Pierce. Let's think. I have 4 creatures, 5 creatures with a spy. I think I need another creature to try to combo, but I don't have enough mana because I'm kind of forced to play Masked Vandal. I mean, if I want to play around Spell Pierce, because if I play the second spy, I'm going to tap out so they can Spell Pierce my spy. If I play a bunch of creatures, then I can indeed try to combo off again next turn. Probably it is safer that way. Yeah, we should do that. We can't play around Burst Weapon, but I think we can play maybe well around other stuff. So they choose to not kill my Priest of Titania on response to Masked Vandal. It is very likely for them to have the Spell Pierce because because they choose to not kill the Priest in response. They then thought we can't really combo off without an extra mana. So I think you can go for the second copy of Priest of Titania, pass the turn, try again with double spy next turn. Yeah, we kind of just traded 1 spy with 1 counter spell. We didn't really play around the counter spell, so if they have a double counter spell, we are going to kind of lose right now. Alright, double Tyrantell. They don't have any bird weapon. Sag Wildling. Okay, if we try to combo off, they have double answer, we can eventually put 1 card in the deck. Well, anyway, we go for the combo. We can play, any copy of Nescast Vandal we play here costs 0 mana. So I'm playing all the Masked Vandals before casting my spies, and then we try to combo off. Alright, I guess as expected, but we have the third copy of Battlement Spy, so it is not a problem. Easy. Okay. This kind of decks is not unfavorable for us, but sometimes maybe we may lose because they have a bunch of chip interaction. All right, so now we need to choose what kind of game plan we have against them in post-sideboard games. In my opinion, we need to keep at least a couple of Masked Vandals because the card is good against Relic of Progenitus. It is very likely for them to have Relic of Progenitus against me. Post sideboard. I think Mesmeric Fiend is bad. I think I don't want to bring in another copy of Masked Vandal. I don't like V2G's Inspector because it does nothing. Fairy Macabre is terrible because you don't really want to slow down those Tolarian Terrors because they play a bunch of 1 mana cantrips. So if you choose to play Fairy Macabre, you are very likely going to have worse draws, worse keep, because you aren't really drawing a good card. You can bring in True Surgeon, maybe not 3 copies, but at least, I guess one or 2 copies. True Surgeon is, good against decks like Izzet because they don't have Snuff Out. The deck is not so fast, so it's a kind of low control deck, and against those decks, unless they have enough interaction in the early game to stop our Overgrown Battlement and Priest of Titania, if we are able to land a couple battlements in the early game and then mm, have a lot of mana in mid to late game, and with that much mana we can use Troll Surgeon as a way to chip off their interaction. So we can cut 1 Masked Vandal and I think 1 Cure Ranger to have 2 copies of True Surgeon. We can eventually cut 1 Lottery Giant if we want to bring in the other copy of True Surgeon, because I'm not really going to combo fast against those decks. We can keep the second copy eventually, because if I in a spot where I draw the first Lottery Giant, I want to have the second copy of Lottery Giant to combo off without requiring 2 mana. So just by casting Battlement Spy. In this matchup, I want to keep both my swamps and all my lands because the game is probably going longer. And double swamp is very strong again with Pro Surgeon and with Dread Return, because if you draw Dread Return, you can eventually cast the spell to bring back some creatures. Okay, right. This is some very weird starting end, but I'm going to keep it. We have double land grant, so even if there's spell pierce, we can resolve the second copy of land grant, and we have a bunch of Junior Sense. So they are kind of forced to counter my land grant. If they're not doing it, if we're not countering it, I'm going for the second land grant and for Segu Wildling. There's no reason to not counter one card that gives me mana if you have spell piercing in it, because there's not so many spots to cast your spell pierce. Yeah, they can counter Wildling because it gives me black mana. But what I wanted here is having turn to over a Battlement. Now we have the Battlement by turn 2, and have a bunch of Geno Sense which are crazy strong against Izzet. And as we predicted, we draw Lottery Giant. In this matchup, we are probably more likely to cast the Giant just to have a big creature. All right, so The Izzet deck having Scred in the deck list. 4 copies of Scred means that they can start killing my early Battlement by turn 4. But if they have another Amazing Mountain, they can kill my Battlement with 2 cards. We draw a Gatekeeper Vine, we play it, and then we fetch the last basic swamp. I can't play anything, and I'm going to pass the turn. I'm not sure if I wanna cycle my General Sense. Why you shredded my Battlement in my end phase? I think my opponent maybe misclicked the target or misread a card, or maybe, yeah, spy. Okay. Okay, that's 6 mana. Time to cast Generous End. I have 4 copies of Generous End, and I'm able to cast the creatures only thanks to you misclicking the spread, and I'm very sorry for the opponent. They play Perilous Landscape. Pass the turn. Yumi Chinatava. Yeah, opponent, another Genocent. I'm going to cast all those bad boys. 5 for you. Red right now as a color is not really great for control or mid-range strategies due to the presence of creatures like Genosound and Tell, because you can Pyroblast Tell, but against creatures like Genosound you are kind of required to have a lot of lands. Yeah. Well, we are attacking with Genosound, and we are playing another Genosound. You're blocking, so they have a Lightning Bolt. To be honest, I can try to play the Balustrade Spy, not to combo off, but just to force them to counter it, preventing them to kill my General Scent. I do wonder what is the right call here. I think it is still better to cast the General Scent. So they now need to choose between casting Lightning Bolt on General Scent or countering the second end with Counter Spell. I'm still having 1 copy of General Scent this way on the battlefield. And Scred, alright. They fetch with Perilous Landscape. 4 cards in it. Another Tolerant Tale. 2 mana. Pro 3 mana. Crimson Fleet and Mirror. Crimson Fleet Commodore. They tap it out, and I have Baluster Spy and General Sand. I think we win this game. I think we won this game. Right? Spy. Target me. And unless they have Thermacob, they can GG opponent. To be honest, I'm sorry for the opponent for that first scred dealing just 3 mana to 3 damage to my Overgrown Battlement. It was a very weird game because we draw no mana dogs beside Overgrown Battlement, get Triple Vine. We leveraged a lot on even 4 copies of Genocent in the starting end. I think the keeper was good. I think we were lucky. So sometimes Magic is just a matter on who draws better or who plays better. And we are against CounterTopGarchomp. You can find them on Twitch as Keiga MTG, so Japanese Twitch streamer. Usually they play decks like Goblin Combo. They used to play as well. I Tide. If I remember, even decks like Mono Madness. All right. So now we have a very seven cards starting hand. I mean, we have a couple mana dogs, Elves of Deep Shadow, a couple Masked Vandals, and three lands. To be honest, I believe since we play a lot of lead stampede effect, we can try to keep this end because we don't know what the opponent is playing. Um, against a deck like Mono Red Madness, of course, this starting end is very bad because we don't have any Overgrown Battlement or similar. But against, well, seems like the opponent is on an elf build, maybe elves. Well, it can be mono green elves, but it can as well be something like, you know, Elves Spy. So we will see. Anyway, since we draw a Gatekeeper Vine, I'm going to start with the Elves of Deep Shadow. So next turn we can probably go for Gatekeeper Vine into Elves of Deep Shadow, or depending on if they want if we want not give them too much mana with the Priest of Titania. But Elves of Deep Shadow, since it's a underdog, I believe we can play it without too much worry. So we fetch another forest. We play the forest, Elf of Deep Shadow. Now we are missing two pieces for to kill the opponent. So the Baluster Spy and another land because we have a double circle while willing to fetch double swarm. If the opponent is on elves rather than spy elves, we have a pretty straightforward sideboard in. So 4 copies of Mercenary Fiend. Fiend is not very great. Rather, we are cutting 3 copies of Masked Vandal because, elves, we don't really have any answer to try to like Timberwatch Elf or Well-Wisher beside Mesmeric Fiend. And Masked Vandal doesn't do much unless they play Brutal Longbow because it is kind of mm, doesn't they don't really have cards like Relic of Progenitors in their sideboard usually. All right, latest on Pint. So there is 7 elves on the play, which means if we take 2 damage from the elves of the shadow, unless they have a Kuro Ranger, they can kill us with the Timber Watch. They have Mystic in end, so we know just 1 card. I think we can tap 2 Elves of Baby Shadow to cast Leader Stampede, General Sand, and Kuro Ranger. Well, I think I'll take both of them. I'm probably not going to play my Quirrell. I am fetching with the General Sand to find the last forest, and then I'm playing the land and fetching again with the Saga. So we have just 1 swamp in the deck. We have enough mana, and we wait for the opponent to kill us. At this point, we can fully block with a Gatekeeper Vi. We can kill us with an Kiro Ranger or an Ixmar Hydra, because since there are 8 elves on play, they can add 16 mana with the Priest of Titanias. And that's mean with the Nixmar Hydra, they have little damage because, yeah, as you can see, they have 20 mana in pool, and there is a Timber Watch. So I think we are pretty much dead, right? We can eventually use the Masked Vandal as a way to exile the Nixper Hydra in this matchup, but as you can see, Hydra comes in just when they kill us. Yeah, 27 is enough. Spy on the top. Nope, not sharing anything. Magical Line, usually great program as usual. Alright, sideboard out is kind of easy. We're cutting the second swamp just to be a little more faster. You know, opponent doesn't really have any interaction to our creatures or to our mana base. So no dress, no spell pierce, no land denial, and more importantly, we can slam as free as we want over Red Battlement and Priest of Titania to add mana. And we don't really want a second swamp over one forest because we can fetch the swamp with the land grant on general sense, so it makes us just a little bit more faster. The Mesmeric Fin is probably the best answer we can bring in against elves because you know, rather than well, yeah, there's Well Wisher, Timberwatch, but they may also have Fur Macabre because it is a creature, so they can draw the card with Lady Stampede or Winding Way. So Eric Field in this matchup, even thought it can't really block. It is still a great Swiss tool to prevent them landing a threat or just to counter the film card. Alright. Oh, wow. A lot of landing runs. And we have a turn to Mesmeric Fiend eventually. Alright. Then move down to 6. As you can see, the deck post sideboard is 4 lands combo because we have 3 copies of land rent in hand. For last, pass the turn. So we now have 1 swamp and 1 forest. I'm probably going to play Mesmeric Fin because if they have a Priest of Titania, we can exile it with Mesmeric Fin. That would be very good. Wind and Way. I think it's still better to cast Mesmeric Fin here over Winding Way or Lady Stampede. So they have both Firm Cup and the Priest of Titania. I believe since their end is a bit clunky, they can excite the Priest of Titania and wait for for another Mesmeric Fiend because we don't really have we have as well a very slow start. So next turn we can play Wind and Way or Lady Stampede, and then we can try to combo off later, unless they draw another Priest of Titania or something similar. Alright. The Rebel Wind and Way, Priest of Titania, Timberwatch, General Sand, and Nixmo Hydra. And that's an issue. So Wind and Wind the Graveyard, Priest of Titania Exile, Forest in play. They pass the turn, discard maybe Nixmo Hydra, General Sand. We draw Lotley Giant. Okay. I'm going for Winning Way because if I draw 2 mana wall or whatever, I can play it. Ranger, Elves Spy. Okay. I can patch the last land with Sagu. I'm not sure if I want to cast first the Sagu or the Ranger, but I think it is better to cast the Huron here because I don't really want to shuffle back my Sagu Wildling in my deck, and I'm very likely going to cast Ranger next turn to, you know, just have more mana to do whatever I want to do. Alright, they have a third land drop. Thunder. Crest of Titania. Yeah. They have a lot of cards in their hand now. Okay, Overgrown Battlement is fine, I guess. We'll start first with the latest Stampede on. Yeah. Maybe we can tap the Elves of Deep Shadow. Latest Stampede. Wow, lot of creatures. Double Surikutaka, Gate Cripple Vine, Mesmeric, add one run, untap, elf, return the forest, and so we can play both with Battlement and double Surikutaka. I think is fine. We can wait for the Mesmeric, then, oh no, wait, just one Surikutaka. Well, it is enough, probably. So we are going to discard. Wait, we don't really need to play around the Macabre if we have the Lottery Giant in hand. That's cool. We can discard the Glen Grant. Nice. I haven't thought about killing them with the Lottery Giant from my hand. So now, unless they have a Cure Ranger, they can't really do much damage with the next Hydra, so it's very likely for them to choose between casting Avenging Anta and Timberwatch or the next Hydra. So we have 4 elves in play. Remember that Priest of Titania counts all the elves on the battlefield. So they have 4, 5, 8 damage, 8 mana, not 8 damage. They go first with the Wind and Way. Priest of Titania again, Forest, and General Scent. Not much. Now they can. I think they are very likely going to play Vingegaard if they don't want to play Timberwatch. But since they draw Burst of Titania, they can go first with the Burst of Titania and then cast as well the Timberwatch. Timberwatch is probably better than Avenging Hunter, but you know, Avenging Hunter is very big. Alright, they cycle the the General Scent. They still have 5 mana. Cast Latest Stampede. What are you trying to find here? Maybe another copy of Firmacab or a Ranger. There it is, the Firmacab, and as well a Wall Wisher. So we can't really play anymore against Firmacab, but thankfully we have the Water Giant in hand. We can still use the Dread turn to sacrifice a couple creature, so it is making Lottery Giant even more deadlier, just in case, because they can exile 4 creatures from my graveyard. Each group of white, fetching the last land, and 1 black mana. Tap. Yeah, I can untap, so we can see if you have enough creatures, or if you have enough mana. 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, that's enough. We can kill them. That's their exact amount I'm in need. Spy. Alright, we have 28 creatures. Now we have 31. They're casting the Thermacabre, exiling the Lottery Giant and the Dreadwriter. But thankfully, I have the second copy of Lottery Giant in hand, so I can play around their Thermacabre. So Mesmeric Fiend, this exiling the Priest of Titania gave us enough time to develop our game plan. And even though they had the second Firma Cub, I was lucky enough to draw the Lottery Giant. So I need to keep in mind that against Elves, willingly I'm willing to draw the Lottery Giant. Probably the opponent is searching for the second giant in the graveyard. All right. The exile a couple creatures. It's cool. Yeah, I can Mesmeric Fiend again. I can dread return again. To bring back Mesmeric Fiend. We can do that. Trying to find some news. We can eventually flashback the Dreadstone on the spy, targeting them, so we can understand if they have some cards that they haven't showed us yet, just to get some extra information, because we are playing in post-sideboard game, and we have enough mana to cast the Lottery Giant anyway. It is kind of useless, but it is cool to do that. No new info, sadly, and we go for the Lottery Giant from the end. Yeah. Even if it exiles something, I have enough creatures. Yeah. All right. So we need to also think about Well-Wisher, because it is important to keep both giants and their returns in this matchup. Indeed, to play around Well-Wisher. But as you can see, sometimes you don't have enough time or enough answers, because they play both Well-Wisher and Macabre. So the matchup, in my opinion, is not really great for Spy combo, because they have winning way that is very strong again, very strong as a card to fetch very specific 8 cards like Well-Wisher and Macabre. You can also count your creatures. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna keep it. We have 3 copies of First of Titania. We have 2 lands with the Spy. I like this end. Really like. Right. Leningrad. Forest. And Sagu. Swamp. Alright. Priest of Titania is good against elves. Alright, now we are yeah, we need Mesmeric, but we already have the Mesmeric Fiend. Let's see what the opponent is going to play. Priest of Titania. The third copy of Priest of Titania? What is going on here? I'm very likely going to play Serial Caretaker next turn to have an extra black mana, unless I draw another Sig-Wildling. So at this point of the game is just a matter on how much fast they are, because they have Priest of Titania already in play. As you can see, I won the game where I was able to stop them from having Priest of Titania on turn 2, but since they started first, they now have indeed the Priest of Titania in play. All right. Well-Wisher, right? And Avenging Hunter. That's a lot of damage, that's a lot of life again. Well-Wisher count elves from all the battlefield. Now we draw a card. Generous Hand, which is good because it gives one land and we are indeed in need of lands to kill the opponent. Alright. I'm probably going to try to combo off next turn. So I'm going to cast Mesmeric Fiend. Let me think. They have 3 cards in hand. So unless they have double Winding Way and 0 copies of Fire Macabre, I don't know. Because we have 1 copy of Spy, we have 6 mana. We are very likely going to cast Surely Critica. So it is a matter of if I want to cast my Mesmeric Fiend now or later. I'm not sure if I want to play all my Priestess of Titania. Maybe just one is enough. It's just a matter on how many copies of Fur Macabre they have and if they draw one. Yeah, because casting Surly Critica means that next turn I can cast a Mesmeric Fiend. For sure. They already have 1 Swamp, and I'm probably going to cast my Spy to try to kill them next turn. Maybe, yeah. There's a lot of thinking here, and I'm not sure. No, a lot of variables. Them not having the card, having cards that let them draw the card. Them having Crest of Titania that counts as well my creatures, Well-Wisher that counts as well my creatures, Crow Ranger in the deck. My Crest of Titania gives 4 mana, so it let me cast 2 copies of Crest of Titania. And I have 1 for us to cast the Surgical Checker. I probably should cast 2 copies of Crest of Titania and the Caretaker. Wait for the Mesmeric Fin. But if I draw double Spy next turn, yeah. If I draw double Spy next turn, I kind of need an extra black mana. So if I draw Mesmeric Fin now, I can play 2 black, 2 Spies, or yeah, there's not even any reason to play eventually a Dredger turn. Alright, let's play the Fiend. Yeah. I guess it is for the better. So many Fairy Macabre do you have in hand? Just 1, but they have 2 copies of Leader Stampede, or rather, 1 Leader Stampede and 1 Winning Way. Alright, showtime. For now, I have more copies than you of Crest of Titania. Hope that is enough. I can as well draw Lady Stampede, and with a Lady Stampede, find another Fairy Macabre. I mean, another Mesmeric Fiend to exile another Fairy Macabre. I think you are always going to forge here, unless you think that Well-Wisher is enough to kill me. So, yeah, I mean, unless you think Well-Wisher is not enough to kill me. So, you can go Lost Will, try to find another copy of Fairy Macabre, and with the Lost Will and the 2 draw spells, yeah, you're going to see a lot of cards. So it very much depends on how many Fairy Macabre they have in their sideboard. But they go to Forge, so they think they're very likely going to draw another card, or that I'm not going to come off next turn. Rather, they prefer to deal me some extra damage because going for Forge here means that with the Avenging Hunter, you're going to deal me 9 extra damage. Little Stampede. So Forest and Permacob no longer. They found another Wisher and the Priest of and the Timberwatch and another Priest of Titania. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elves in play. So they cast another Llanowar. They draw this Llanowar this turn. They cast Wind Away. But they don't find any. They don't find any from a cub. But they put in the graveyard 2 Stampede. Okay. We probably should go for the combo next turn. We still have a 1 land in the deck, but we are kind of forced because there is a Well-Wisher, and we are basically need to flashback double Dreader turn to kill the opponent. So if we're very lucky, we draw the forest. If we don't draw the forest and we don't put in the graveyard enough cards with the Elves Spy, we are going to lose the very next turn. So Miss Merkin on the Firmacabre helped us, but they can go very. They can get so many life back. So probably, I'm not sure if I'm going to kill them. Right? So we draw Landgrant, Sagu. What are we go? Yes, it's the Landgrant. All right, all right, all right, all right. Last forest. How many creatures do I need to kill them? 5 creatures. So we tap for mana. We have 24 mana. Which doesn't. Ah, no, wait, we can't really kill them as Queen because there is a Firmacabre under it. But we can still cast another couple Priest of Titanias after that. So it's fine. Land Grant on the top, Battlement Spy, and we hope it is enough. Yeah, sure, go for it. Right. Where is my Lotale Giant? Lotale Giant number 1. We're going to sacrifice the elves, so if they want to activate again the queer, they can do that. And Dreader turn number 2, hoping it is enough. Lotale Giant. I think this is the first time I flashback double Dreader turn, especially against elves, and we were able to kill them. Oh, oh well, all is good. They went up to, I think, how many health? So we sacrificed 2 Burst of Titania, so they get back something like 20 or more lives with a Well-Wisher. But we deal them something 60 to 70 damage. That's cool. And we are starting again on the play. And we have yeah, I think it is good at this starting end. We can go for Elves of Deep Shadow on turn 2. Turn 1, I mean. And Priest of Titania on turn 2. That even if you have just 1 land. It is enough to generate enough mana. I mean, unless they have a burn spell on or any other removal spell. A mirror match? But we have a Priest of Titania. So now we draw Battlement Spy, tap for mana, add 1 mana, and cast Priest of Titania. So yeah, I probably attack here. Sure, why not? We're dealing 1 damage. If they block, it is good for me. We can add a lot of mana with this Priest of Titania. That's so cool. I wasn't expecting Priest of Titania to be good as well in the mirror match. I mean, the mirror match because it is by deck, but they may be not playing the same deck list as me. Yeah. So they have Silver Ranger. So it is Elves Spy. So the mirror match is kind of tricky. You need to keep in mind that fetching, you don't really need to fetch the last land until you can play Baluster Spy, because if you fetch the last land and pass the turn, they can spy you. So now my opponent have one swamp in hand. So unless they have the last land in hand, okay, okay. Ranger, tap, 4 mana, 6 mana, lead the Stampede, Gatekeeper Vine, Gatekeeper Vine, Junior Sun, and Masked Wanda. So now we can try to call off because we have 3 extra lands. Kind of sus. Kind of sus, if I may say. Probably should need to wait 1 turn. Hmm. Let's think about it a little bit, because we have enough mana to cast Spy, and we have 3 lands, 4 lands in total. So it mostly depends on how much of our decks we put in the bin. Probably we should do that because they can kill me next turn. Kind of risky, but this kind of matchup is more related on who draws better. So let's try. Yeah, let's try that. We can as well put in the graveyard another spy and draw their turn. Spy 5 less spy without any no. It went so wrong here. If they had the spy, they can kill me. Yeah. All right. As you can see, I wasn't able to put enough cards in the graveyard. All right, they don't have the spy yet, and they find them. And they find the spy. So unless they kill me next turn, I need to find now the second spy. Or Dreaderton, it is enough because I can run with something and then sacrifice this. No, I need a spy. You meet in tavern. I think I'm going to meet in the tavern my opponent. You meet in a tavern was enough. All right, this is the first time I think Nixpor Hydra is better than you meet in a tavern. Oh well, anyway. I think I'm free to attack with everything. I forgot to attack with the spy. Well, doesn't really matter. All right. I do wonder if opponent is wanna kill me by targeting me with a spy, or if they're going to target themselves. That targeting yourself here means that you show your opponent what deck list are you playing. So since I don't have any cards in my deck anymore, any lands in my deck anymore, I think it is safer to target me over my opponent. Mhm. So now I know how many lands they have. All right, 4 lands. Unless they bring in a land from their sideboard, I think we are going to see just 4 lands. In the matchup, we're bringing in Mesmeric Fiend and Firm Cob, and we are going to cut at least one Swamp. I think there's not really the reason to keep 2 copies of Swamp. Yeah, to be faster, but also because yeah, just to be faster, to be honest. But also, they don't have any interaction to the creatures, so it's fine. We can cut at least 1 or 2 copy of Cur Ranger. I'm not sure if I want to keep the Giant. Uh, Let me think. Because we have too much cards in the sideboard for this matchup. Probably we don't really need that many Mesmeric Fins or Firma Cops. Because you don't really want to cut more than 1 land. You don't really want to cut more than 1 or 2 Hero Rangers, especially since they don't have any interaction and we can keep a larger variety of starting ends. I'm not sure if I want to go up to 62 cards. It seems so wrong. Probably I should cut 1 copy of Dreader Third. Probably is fine. I mean, you don't really need to have 2 copies of Dreader Third. I wonder if you need yeah, maybe we don't even need a second copy of Lottery Giant after all. Yeah, we can draw it, but we can as well have more creatures. So I haven't thought we don't really have anything relevant in the starting hand. We have a bunch of card draw and mana ramp, so I'm going to keep it. It doesn't really feel a fast start hand or you know uh, an hand with a lot of interaction, but we can draw the interaction, so this I think it is fine. And there it is, the interaction. Kura on top. Maybe I should go win away over the Elves of Deep Shadow creature. Dreader turn in the graveyard. Nice. So next time we can play basically everything. We have as well one forest in the graveyard. That might be hurtful. At least they can't do much about our combo thanks to the Firma Cup. They're not attacking. They're on top. Play back. Okay, yeah, there's the pressed. Right, all right, all right. We are not getting comboed off sooner. Over at Battlement. I think we can play first the winning way creature. Okay. Yeah. I should play this every caretaker. Yeah. I just miscounted. I think I'm going to discard the Elves of Deep Shadows at this point of the game. I mean, I don't really need it. So now we have the combo. We have deep protective spells. So unless they threat us with something like Timberwatch or Nixma Hydra, we are pretty much safe. They can indeed for Macabre my return. That is pretty annoying. But I think they're not going to exile my return with a Macabre. There's not much. There's not so any reason to do that, to be honest. We tap on some mana, play the Gatekeeper line, fetch this one. We have still one forest, but we keep the forest. Then we tap the Overgrown Battlement because I wanna play Generosant. 10 mana, 11 mana. I can play both the Generosant and the Sacred Wildling. Yeah. Now they can attack with their Generosant, and they can either attack. Maybe I should have not casted the Sacred Wildling, because if they have a Mismarked Fin, they can exile my last Sacred Wildling, preventing me to combo off. Okay, let's see what is going to happen here. 10 mana, 11 mana, next more I draw. Yeah, that's an Explore Hydra. 14, 16. I think my creatures aren't big enough to kill their Genocents. Another Priest of Titania. Pretty much useless. Okay, what are we going to do here? I think I'm going to crack the food token and pass the turn. I don't really like the idea of blocking my opponent Genocent, and I don't like the idea of casting the second wildling. I'm kind of forced to block with maybe just the Sagu. Does it really matter? I mean, it matters if I draw another General Sand. I think I'm not losing yet, yeah. It's going down to one. General Sand, yeah, I mean, Seguiring, that's fine. I need any draw spell. Oh, wow. Another General Sand. Okay. Well, I'll play the Sagu. Should I play the Sagu? Um, I have 4 life. I have a 14, 16. Yeah, can do much about that. Maybe I should keep the second copy of Dread Return over the second copy of Lottery Giant, because I don't really want to lose to Winning Wave and putting in the graveyard my only copy of Dread Return. That's pretty dumb. Alright, 7 life. I can just charm block the General Center with a creature, like the Creeper Blind. Block the Ant. Block I'm not even killing the generous end. That's crazy. 10 damage. It is a 16. Um. Wow. Okay. I suppose I'm anyway going to lose now because they have the Nyx Hydra. Nyx Hydra seems quite cool in this mirror match. I wasn't really expecting that, but seems like the card is very strong when you can combo off. Wind away. Finally. So I win away and snap concede. We have the spy and the giant. We can play around the Perma card. We can play around the Perma card because we drew the Dotlet giant. So it taps for 7, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. Oh, wait, I'm dumb. I still have one land in my deck. But seems like it isn't. um, yeah, I can't really play them as Merchant. Alright. How many Firma do you have in hand? They can exile up to. If they cast one Firma they exile 2 creatures. But I can discard 2 creatures. No fucking way, they have 2 food tokens. I forgot about that. Oh no, I'm dead. Easy. So after couple misplays, we are now 2-1. We are starting the, I think, third match. Yeah. So we are going to mulligan. We take another mulligan. Why not take another mulligan? Now we keep. Have the basic swamp over. Wow. Okay. It is painful. Very, very, very painful, I guess. So we keep the basic swamp because maybe we can draw later on land grant or a general sand. And now it's up to the opponent to kill us. I mean, they can't really do much without the grant. And they have turn 1 modern epicure. They have the second land. Burn into mystery. So the opponent's deck is mono red. What is going on here? I thought it was mono red rally, but they have Sneaky Snaker and Witch's Mark. Okay, so it is mono red rally with Snaker and this card draw spells. Yeah, you can chill like me. And at this point of the game, I pretty much sure we're not going to win. All right, we can sideboard. So this is the kind of matchup where you don't really want to play the most straightforward combo gameplay, unless instead of trying to combo off as fast as possible, you try to prevent your opponent to killing you because they have ways to stop you, like lightning bolt on your creatures. and you need to, your ways to block their aggro is usually pretty much stronger against them than your ways to, go faster with Overgrown Battlement and Priest of Titania. So for that reason, we are bringing in Master Vandal and Vitiges Inspector. We're not going to bring in any Graveyard 8. We can keep the combo as an alternative plane in the eventuality they they don't have any interaction, and we have the change to kill them. So we can cut one copy of Lottery Giant, we can cut one copy of Crew Ranger, maybe one copy of the Return. Spy in this matchup is kind of just a blocker, so we can eventually cut one copy of Burst of Titania because it costs 2 mana, and getting a Burst of Titania killed by one burn spells is not really affordable. It's not really great. We can eventually remove Elves of the Deep Shadow because it gives you mana only if you get 1 damage back, but I think it is still fine to keep it. It is a mana dog that costs just 1 mana. We can, cut one Spy in one Dredger turn. I think Dredger turn is fine as a way to reanimate a Genocent, but you are forced to cast it from your hand, so it is not really great. I think keeping 3 copies of Queer Ranger is fine, and I want all my lands because I want to be able to cast Sagu Wildling and General Scent. Yeah, I think we can try and see what is going to happen. At least I think we are not going to move down to 4 again without having any lands. Yeah, finally we have a decent starting end. So we are getting rid of Cure Ranger, which is really useless here, and we can pass the turn. I mean, play the land again as basic swamp, but later we are going to cast Winning Way or having something else. I can pass the turn here. Alright, we have the 1/1 creature. And we have the Crest of Titania. I think this is a safe spot to cast this Crest of Titania because we are trading off one Lightning Bolt with the Crest of Titania, and the opponent, it gives us the third card, the amount of the converted mana the total converted mana cost to collect evidence 6 with B2 Gas Inspector. So the B2 Gas Inspector becomes 2 for it gives us 2 lives. If they don't kill the Priest of Titania, we have 4 mana and we can cast Winding Way and then the B2 Gas Inspector. So it's still fine. Now we need to wait for the opponent to do something. They need to think over if they want to kill my Priest of Titania or if they, want to do something else. In my opinion, it is very likely for them to have a removal spell on my Priest of Titania, and later we will discover if they have a second land or if we are forced to cast Winding Wave. If we want to play around a Lightning Bolt or the Vidigazi. They have Lightning, right? They don't have the second land. And alright, we cast Vidigazi. Now we need to choose between giving a +1/+1 on the Surge Caretaker or on the VTK's Inspector. I think it is better to go for the VTK's Inspector because, if they one attack with the Clockwork Percussionist, I can block with the Surge Caretaker to not give them the draw. So yeah, they can kill my Surge Caretaker with Galvanic Blast, but that is the last the only copy of Lottery Giant I have in my deck, right? Yeah. Weirdly enough, it happens all the times when you cut the Lottery Giant you have in hand. What is going on here? I played Winding Way and I milled down the last two lands of my deck. That is so weird, so unexpected. Probably I should attack it here. Lightning Bolt face. Why not Lightning Bolt on my Survivor Ticker? Now I can't even combo off with just a 4 mana. Oh wow. I think this is worst ever Winning Way I have played. Cover the price discarding Goblin Tomb Raider. That is the first time for me. Alright, Lady Stampede. Alright, we can discard the Lottery Giant now. I think I pick all the cards. Yeah. And I haven't played land yet, so I'm playing the Crew Ranger on top the Survivor Ticker. Played again the land. I have a 2 mana. I can play the Izzet as Inspector. Nah, there's not. It is better here to just discard the Lottery Giant. So next turn I can combo off because I have no lands. I have no lands in my deck. And by discarding the Lottery Giant, I can combo off with my Spy. Since I have... Oh no, they killed my Kira. I'm not going to block your Clockwork Percussionist. Yeah, go tap out. No, I'm going to block your Goblin Tomb Raider. It's time to combo off. No fucking How is that even possible? We naturally draw both the giant and the dread turn while playing just one copies each. This is so crazy. Oh, so crazy. I'm going to exile their Clockwork Percussionist with my Musket Vandal. That is... Oh man. Yeah, I could have played the Dread turn on Queer Ranger, but I remembered just yet that possibility. So I'm going to wait. Yes. There's no reason to attack. They're playing something. Now we have five mana. So Garber Prize again discarding another Goblin Tomb Raider. I can discard General Sand in the end phase and then return it on the battlefield with your return. Seems better than casting your return on Queer Ranger. General Sand back. And yeah. Haha, I can attack without any worry. Yeah, there's no any reason to attack, to be honest. I just wanted to... Oh no! The Witch's Mark on Goblin Tomb Raider, discarding Skittering Kitten. Pull down an Epicure. And the pass the turn. So I suppose my opponent don't know how I'm playing. Don't really know, or at least didn't understood that I was playing Spy since I showed him in the game one just one swamp. So I'm going to combo off now. I can eventually kill them with my generous hand by mm, continuously casting the Rost Sick, the Sorcery Omen part of Saga Wildring. But to be honest, I don't really wanna do that, so I'm just sacrificing a bunch of stuff and see if that is enough to kill them. Yeah, they don't have the key. They don't have any Fairy Macabre, thankfully. That was a really weird game. All right. I suppose I kind of need to keep at least 2 copies in red return. I don't. To be honest, mono red rally. When you approach the matchup as mono green big creatures, is really good matchup because they can't do much against your General Sense and Seg Wildling and even Elves Spy that can block the creatures. So for that reason, I think the combo is very weak against them. I mean, we try to combo off only really in the late game. This game was very weird because we got the mana cut off by um, Windy Way. It was weird because we bought Lottery Giant and Red Return. I'm not really sure if sideboarding out Lottery Giant and Red Return is good or cutting one spy is the right call. We can cut another copy of Crystal of Titania just to say, but I think creature that costs 4 mana and dies to Lightning Bolt is not really great. I think we are kind of forced to make those choices. Right? Now is the opponent is starting first. So the opponent is clearly on Red Queens with a weird approach. I mean, they're playing mono red aggro with the cards that are again this basic swamp. We're going down to 5. Oh, finally, we can keep it. We have 2 lands. We put on the bottom Circle Carteca, maybe the Quirrell Ranger. I'm going to cycle Generant here. Who mana give us the Quirrell Ranger? Maybe as the same amount as Cerulean Carteca. I think we prefer to keep the Quirrell. After all, Quirrell Ranger can, hypothetically speaking, generate more mana. My opponent is mulling down to 4. Okay, so something here is happening here, something weird. And we already drew the Cerulean Carteca again. And we're going to pass the turn here. I thought we'd roll it down to 5. We have a decent starting hand because we have the Overgrown Battlement. Okay, that's a good move to 4 for my opponent because they have the Sneaky Snacker. We grab the forest, we draw land. We play forest, Battlement, pass the turn. They are forced to cast 2 removal spells on the Battlement to kill it. Really? I'm not sure if I'm gonna. I don't really want to block here. I don't want to lose my Battlement to land Lightning Bolt. Alright. The second copy of Quirrell Ranger. Okay. Windy Way. I need my blockers. Okay. Winding Way that see Lead Stampede, Yumi's Tavern, Lead Stampede, and Musket Vandal. It is clearly not what I wanted to happen. Alright, Musket Vandal. Alright, they had just 1 land, so exiling 1 land, and we pass the turn. This Well, in this league, we are experiencing some weird stuff happening. Winning way, mulling lands, drawing all the creatures, killing elves by flashbacking, double draw return. Well, probably that was the the most normal play. Well, it's just statistics, so you can say. All right. If we go down to 12, keep in mind my opponent moved it down to 4. And this turn they draw a land. Or either they kept a hand in hand, maybe. I don't know. So they did not attack with their 1-1 human soldiers. Now I need to draw some life against spell. Or, I don't like winning wish for this thing because I don't like the idea of losing forever those draw spells. Well, it is probably just the current spells being very bad at drawing draw spells. Or maybe we just should downgrade Eternal Witness. Eternal Witness would probably be good, very good in Winning Way decks. I play Winning Way, put in the graveyard Leader Stampede, but I as well pick an Eternal Witness with Winning Way, so I can bring back the Leader Stampede. Alright. Oh no, my Saruli Caretaker. I can play Masked Vandal, but I don't have any creature they don't have any artifact to exile. That's pretty, I don't know, annoying. Where? Alright, so I'm not playing the Swamp because they kill my Saruli Caretaker to prevent me to cast the Spy. So I think they don't have any Fury Macabre or whatever it can be. They cast Burning Tremissary, Lightning Bolt on Masked Vandal. Alright, zero cards in hand. I block. Should I lose my Quirrell? I think it's not so bad to lose the Quirrell Challenger here, since okay. Sagu. Sagu is good, but I can't cast it. I still miss 1 minute because I lost the Quirrell Ranger and I was forced to cast another Quirrell Ranger. Yeah. Okay. I hope you don't have another lightning bolt in it, so it can block tapped creatures and take 3 damage or the 4 damage. Block the burn emissary, block the token, to take 4 damage, go down to 5. Dread return. I don't have any lightning creature in my graveyard, so I suppose I'm just casting this Segu. Right. Time to shine for my little dragon. Doesn't really matter attacking here. I can untap my Overgrown Battlement, and I think I should play the Swamp over the forest, because if I draw another Swamp, I can play Dredger Turn on my Sagu, because I'm very likely going to lose the Sagu here. It is the first time I see an enchantment on a Sneaky Snaker. What are you going to do here, opponent? They are going to attack with everything. Maybe I should block 1 Burning Emissary. I take 5 damage. They have 2 cards in it. Now it is still better to lose this Sagu here. Yeah. And we block football creatures. Not sure if I should double block the BTA, the Burn Intermissary, with the Quirion and the Masked Vandal. I think is not the best play I can do. I take as well 1 damage from the Witch Mark. Alright, we draw a Gatekeeper Vine. That's good. So we play the Swamp. And next turn we have double Swamp to cast Dredger Turn on the Sagu. Alright. I should start attacking with my Queer Ranger. I'll double block. I'll block with the Overgrown Battlement and the Masked Vandal. If they cast a Lightning Bolt on the Overgrown Battlement, maybe it is fine. There are 3 cards in hand. If I take, they're not attacking with anything. They're not attacking. Yeah, I reanimated the Sagu. Yeah, it happened. Um, I don't really want to lose the Elves of Deep Shadow to an end the festivities, and I'm not really in need of tapping for black, so I'm passing the turn. I can eventually sacrifice this elf for the flashback of the return. I hope this is not going to happen. We go down to 9. We draw another card. Another Great Creeper Vine. So we can fetch the last land. So at least we can try to combo off with the Spy if we draw it. Then we can attack with the Sagu. After all, we can attack with the Quirion if there is no, if I'm in need of another blocker. They pass again. Another Battlement. I suppose we're going to win with the State Widening Beatdown if we don't draw any other irrelevant card. Well, I just played the land. So I have an extra mana in my next turns. Monograin Chump Blockers. To be honest, the only reason why I'm still alive is my opponent having mulled down to 4. Because my draw, my I wasn't able to draw anything relevant beside Sagu and Dredger Turn on Sagu. Or rather, I played a bunch of more creatures that stopped my opponent from having a decent gameplay. Decent gameplay. So now, do we have 3 copies of Lightning Bolt in your hand? Again, also Deep Shadow. And again, I'll attack with the Sagu. I don't even have any relevant creatures in my graveyard. So, this is not going so well. Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt. Probably the opponent is playing around with the Storm. Or maybe they don't have anything. Relic of Progenitus. How many copies of Dread Return I have in my deck? Just one. Oh, we are exciting something. I need a Lady Stampede, drawing a bunch of Geno Sense. And this is something really similar to Lady Stampede. I'll draw a couple cards, please. Let me draw cards, please. What is going on here? Hey, 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 hey. That's a lot of cards, a lot of light gain. I cast my B2 as Inspector, exiling for 6. We can eventually play, try to kill them. Well, we have enough creatures to kill them in next turn, so I'm not really forced to, you know, putting the 1/1 counter on the Sagu over the Masked Vandal. They're kind of forced to kill me, to kill my creatures. If they cast Lightning Bolt on Masked Vandal, I'm fine with it. They're wasting 3 damage to kill a creature which is a 1/3. Okay. This is not what I was expecting. No, my Sagu Wildling! I forgot to attack with the Masked Vandal, to be honest. Sagu. And again, Sagu. Your turn. You see that? Okay. I suppose you meet in a tavern on top deck was the card that let us win. Yeah, Sagu was winning the game, so another 2 copies of Sagu was probably pretty much of a overkill. All right, time to play the last. And we are going to keep this end. Yeah, we have the Scum start with Masked Vandal and General Sand, but more importantly, we have turn 2 Overall Battlement, we have the Spy, and we have Lead Stampede. Isn't this the same deck as earlier? Mono red with Spider-Man cards. Come on, opponent, go Vault of Great Furnace, so I can exile it. What are you planning to do here? Hey, those lands aren't artifacts. So my opponent has a bunch of spider cats, which are as well heroes. How can be a cat being a hero? So we drew all the copies of Mescal Vandal. I suppose we are going to wait for the opponent to do something. I'm not going to block here. If I draw a card, maybe I'm going to slam 2 copies of Masked Vandal just to chump block. Alternate here. Alright, I can exile the blood token. Cool Ranger. That's cool. Cool Ranger counts as a land. Yeah, time to play Devil Masked Vandal. Are you planning to burn my Battlement? I'm exiling your blood token. Hehehehe. Hey, what are you doing? No. Right. Mono Red Madness with new cards. I suppose this makes for us the matchup much better since both Voldaren Epicure and Skittering Kitten are very bad against my chum blockers. Okay, you can attack with your 1/1s. I can block them, no problem. 2 mana, Cassie. They exile another High Roller, and they draw another land. Right? Time to play Leader Stampede. Yeah, I suppose if I draw a Leader Stampede, I'm going to play another Leader Stampede. It's Creepavine. I think we don't need a Lotless Giant in hand. Yoda on top. I'm going to play another Overgrown Battlement here. Yeah, easy. Your turn, opponent. You can do nothing in front of my musket vandals. No, my life points. I don't like the idea of playing more one drops in mono red madness. To be honest, I believe the one mana cards in mono red madness are really good, and you don't really much care about developing your board. After all, mono red madness, from my point of view, is more of a spell based deck rather than a creature based deck. Fear Champa. Okay. I'm taking damage. I'm going down to 6. If they have land like in Bolt and Fire Blast, I'm dead because they have a Lava Dart. Well, even if they don't have the Lava Dart, I'm dead. Alright. They have another burn spells, I guess. Yeah. Whatever. Fire Blast for the kill. Alright. So against Mono Red Menace, we are pretty much helpless. The matchup is very unfavorable. But since they are not playing the strong version of Mono Red Madness, or at least this version which is strong against our deck, I suppose we are kind of better positioned because we can try a slightly different approach. We can approach the deck as Mono Red Synth, I mean Mono Red Rally. I mean, we can just play a couple creatures to jump block and wait for the opponent to die by itself. Alright, so we cut one swamp. We are bringing in all the 2 mana elves. We cut one Priest of Titania, one Cur Ranger. I need to cut another couple cost. We can cut a couple, you might turn a tavern maybe, because we're not expecting the game to go longer. Yeah, since they're playing Fire Blast and Gutter's Knife, there's no reason to keep the late game cards. Alright, it's a mulligan. Another mulligan. Okay, we have an Avalanche. I don't like the idea of keeping the Elves, the Shadow, and we can cut one Copy Genocent. So we have Relance and Vitigas Inspector. I cast a Land Grant, Forest, and pass the turn. I'm going to cycle Genocent so I can play my very bad 2 mana elf. Oh, Relic of Progenitus. I need my Musket Vandals now. But at least I can go for the BT Gas Inspector. Elves Spy. Haha, now your creatures can attack me anymore. Chessing a Flimberta. Overall Battlement. So we fetch the swamp. Play the land. And play the Battlement. Right. What are you going to do here? If they're going to tap out, I can kill them because I have General Sent as the last land and Balustrade Spy as the only card I'm in need. 3 mana, Gutter's Knife. Yeah, we're going to kill them. You're going to kill them. No issue about that. Or rather, they can kill me with Fire Blast. Should I play around Fire Blast? I'm not going to play around Fire Blast because they have a Gutter's Knife and 4 cards in it. I'm anyway pretty much dead. They had Fire Blast. Because if they untap with both Gather's Knife and Cassie, I'm not going to survive this game, especially since they have a Relic of Progenitus on the battlefield. Okay. Alright, so we need to keep the Masked Vandals. The 2 mana creature that gives you 2 lives is not really great against the Gather's Knife deck, but it is good against a deck with a bunch of critters, with a bunch of small creatures that can kill us. I think we are kind of forced to keep this setup against the specific variation of the deck, even though we don't really have much play around against them. All right, not so good, not so bad. I have the blockers. We have the blockers. Don't worry. I'm not going to cast yet the land grant because I can, if I draw another land, I will be quite happy. So I have Fatalist Looting, Discard Mountain, and Free Temper. Just 4 cards in hand. That's fine. All right. So we can check on top. We fetch once, Wolf Forest, then we play Battlement. If they kill the Battlement, that would be really sad. If they don't kill it, I can go for Surly Caretaker and maybe something else. It pretty much depends on what I have now. Gutter Knife is very awful. And they should attack the first with the Epicure over casting the Gutter Knife. Spy on the top deck. Alright. So I cast Winning Way here because if I draw something like 1 mana spell, I can still cast it. They have the Cure Ranger. It lets us go for more mana. I can't really do much here. I can play the Lit Stampede to discard the Lottery Giant. I can cast Sega Wildling and maybe Vitugia's Inspector just to have a Shambhala card. Anyway, I think I'm forced to kill them next turn unless they have the little damage. Yeah, because I can't really wait with a good Snipe in play. Last land in the deck. I have just 1 land in my deck, and I have another copy of Lottery Giant in my deck, so I can freely combo off if I try to combo off. Right, I play a land, which means 1 less spell. They go for Crowder Prize, discarding Fear Temper. Really hurtful, which means I'm taking 5 plus another 4 damage. If they have a Fire Blast, I'm dead. If they have a Lava Dart, I'm not dead. So they need Fire Blast. If they don't have Fire Blast, I'm trying to kill them. If they don't have Fire Blast, alright, they're trying to find a Fire Blast or a Lava Dart or a couple Lava Darts. If they find just 1 Lava Dart, no way, no Fire Blast. We found the land grant on the top deck! Second time in this league. Second time for the kill. Sometimes it happens, I guess. And we go for the kill with the Baluster Spy. Let's go. Where is my Lottery Giant? I need my Lottery Giant to deal damage. I think my burn spells is bigger than yours. Alright. We got them. And that is a 4-1, losing against Elves Spy. Probably I should be a 5-0. because I misplayed against Elves Spy combo. But to be honest, I think this result is good enough. I mean, the deck is strong, and we have a lot of play around against most decks in the format. We are weak to Karkland Shaman and Crop Rats, so John the Wildfire, Crux of Affinity, and Gardens. But we did not face any one of those decks. So we faced Mono Red Madness. Mono Red Madness is a very terrible matchup, but we got them 2-1. So we have a good chance to win even against bad matchups. That is good because it means the deck is solid, strong, and have a chance to win even in unfavorable matchups. So, I think I'm still going to play the deck a bit more eventually. I'm probably going to change some cards in the sideboard. I don't like. Oh my, earlier I like True Surgeon, but the card is bad. I like Mesmeric Fiend, but against in mirror match we had some issue about the sideboarding because having 7 cards means we are forced to cut some very better cards like Queer Ranger or the combo pieces. So it is kind of forceful to change the deck too much to fit more 8 cards. It may be the right call, but so that means we need to figure out the best way to sideboard out. But still, it seems maybe a little too much. So the deck, in my opinion, is good, as those very terrible matchups, thanks to the presence of Crippers and Crackling Shaman and other graveyard 8 like Traven Charm or Crypt Incursion. And those cards, we can't really do much about them without having very bad Duras effects. So yeah, Mono White aggro, White Winnie, and as well Cool Gates are very difficult matchups. Those aren't really played much more, but you can face them even more often than other decks, especially on Magical Line in the leagues. So the video gameplay is over. I hope you like it. Let me know in the comments of this video, and I'll see you in the next video next week.